Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Some fascinating news coming out early Wednesday afternoon for Matt Rhule, this Nebraska program, as former Alabama offensive tackle Elijah Pritchett committing to Nebraska. And I think what should excite the Nebraska fans the most about this kid is what he could be over the next 2 years in Lincoln, Nebraska. Well, I'm not going to get up here and false advertise. You look at Elijah Pritchett, it was not very good football from him in the 2024 year. Got benched on and off in the season, certainly did not play his best football. But look, there's a reason that when Elijah Pritchett hits the transfer portal, Nebraska was not the only team interested in him. LSU was very interested, a plethora of other SEC schools. And why are they all interested in Elijah Pritchett? It's because what he can be with the proper development. And this is a guy that it's rare. These kind of guys do not grow on trees. 6'6", 320 plus, 34 plus inch arms. He's got all the traits to be an elite offensive tackle. Now he's just got to put it together. And we've seen Matt Rhule do this time and time again at his time at Temple, at his time at Baylor, and now at his time in Nebraska. We're going to bet on upside. We're going to bet on the premier athletes. We're going to try to make them good football players. That's what you're doing with Elijah Pritchett. And I think the second thing you're doing is building competitive depth, which is something that is very important to Matt Rhule. Hey, we want to be competitive at every single position on the football field. You are not going to walk into Lincoln, Nebraska and just start for free. And I think Elijah Pritchett's one of those guys that you bet on. You bring him into the program, see what you can do with him over the next couple of months, because there's a chance that you're getting a really, really good offensive tackle in Elijah Pritchett. I want to get into a couple of different things. One, let's talk about Elijah Pritchett, talk about some of the stuff we saw from him at Alabama, and then talk about where he fits in on this Nebraska offensive line. Now, before we get into it, as always, to the Nebraska fans, y'all know it has been a blast talking this program, a lot of which y'all been rocking with the boys for a very long time. Can't thank you guys enough. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys. And without further ado, let's get into this one. And you take a look at the numbers. 320 pass per opportunities in the 2024 season. He gave up 6 sacks. He gave up 31 pressures. That checks out from what I've seen on him on the film. Like, it's been inconsistent for Elijah Pritchett. Now, I think what should excite Nebraska fans, and is certainly a reason that Matt Rhule wants to add this kid to the program, is, hey, you see some good football from him. You just don't see it on a consistent basis. Can we get that good football on a more consistent basis during his time at Lincoln? That's story number one. I think number two, look, Matt Rhule's made it no secret. We want to run the football and run the football effectively. Elijah Pritchett, for struggling at times in pass protection, you're looking at a very, very big, physically imposing offensive tackle who will help in the run game. He is a big body mover up front. And so you're getting a guy that certainly can stimulate the run game. You're getting a guy that I think can be an elite offensive tackle if he puts all the traits together. We talked about this yesterday, Nick. The way Matt Rhule recruits and how he's kind of stockpiling young offensive linemen, it allows you to bet on a guy like Elijah Pritchett. If you needed a starting tackle and you needed a guy that you could kind of trust and come in and play really well, maybe Elijah Pritchett's not that guy. But he's a guy that, one, has a ton of starting experience in the SEC, which is hard to find. Look, when you go to the transfer portal, it's hard to find offensive tackles that have started a lot of football games. Elijah Pritchett has. I think Matt Rhule has put himself in a position and put this roster in a position where, hey, we can go take a, for lack of better terms, lottery ticket on Elijah Pritchett and see if it works out. I mean, there's a chance maybe it doesn't come together and you got to lean on some other guys to start a tackle, but there's also a very good chance that Elijah Pritchett puts it all together and you're looking at a first, second team, all Big Ten caliber guy. And I don't think this is it for Nebraska in the transfer portal on the offensive line. They went after the kid from Washington State. They went after Isaiah World from Nevada, 2 guys that were probably a little bit more proven plug-and-play guys. Look, Elijah Pritchett has every ability to be better than both of those tackles. Now, those 2 tackles are probably a little bit more proven, but Elijah Pritchett, what he brings to the table is just a little bit different. We always say, God don't make many Elijah Pritchett's. There's a chance that you hit in a big way. But I do think that Nebraska will try to add another tackle that, probably gives you a little bit more of a floor, because I don't think that's what Elijah Pritchett gives you. He gives you a damn high ceiling. I think we all know that. The floor was pretty low for him at Alabama. This is a kid that I think is really intriguing. Shiaza Pete coming from New Mexico State, one, played a lot of football during his time at New Mexico State. You get a little bit of position flexibility where you can play left tackle and right tackle. But I think more importantly, you've seen some better, more consistent football from this kid. Now, albeit at the G5 level, not in the SEC like Elijah Pritchett, this would be another really good addition where you can bring him in along with Elijah Pritchett. You're getting two guys, and you look at Pete and you say 6'8", 320. I mean, again, another guy with some intriguing physical specs to him. Just start stockpiling these guys and kind of see which ones rise to the top. If you create a lot of competitive depth on the offensive line, one, you want to be deep at that position group regardless. Number two, you want a lot of really, really talented football players battling it out for spots. And I think guys like Pete, guys like Elijah Pritchett will certainly bring that to Nebraska. Really excited. Look, if you're an offensive line coach and Donovan Rhule that believes in your ability to coach offensive line at a high level, guys like Elijah Pritchett are guys you dream about. Like if you have confidence in yourself to coach football at a high level, you want to work with guys like Elijah Pritchett because you look at him and say, hey, I can coach this kid up to being a really good football player. We'll see how it progresses over the next couple of months. To me, he immediately becomes one of the biggest storylines for Nebraska in spring camp. And that is, hey, what does Elijah Pritchett look like? Is he kind of getting better as time goes on? We'll sign out there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to y'all later.